Alrighty. Hey y'all. So, on this episode, I'm going to be talking about my dreams once again. But I'm going to just backtrack and kind of just run through a few old ones. Some do have details. I'm trying to say the most detailed ones for last. So, we're going to do a little backtracking. Okay, so let me just say what I thought was very interesting. I thought it was really, really interesting that like I have been thinking about this for a while today. And I realized that these things have been happening like in stages and it's all a part of the journey. Really to me, especially spiritually, I really feel like it's a part of it. More so than I thought before. So way back, and I have my dream book here too. I don't remember writing it down at all. Because it was a very long time ago. Even though these are like this one book here is 2018, mind you. I don't really think I wrote it down, but anywho, moving forward. So I want to like start off where it really, like, really took place when it really started for me. Uh, because usually my dreams, like anybody else, they felt random and kind of all over the place, in and out. Some scenes blurry, not as vivid, and they just become more and more vivid. Now, for me, I don't usually have dreams where I'm a child again, right? So this is pretty much where things really start to happen because okay, so I was having a dream one night, and you know how you're like finding someone in your dream, it's like you're moving extremely slow, and you're not really like connecting, or if you do connect, it's just so slow. It's like you're trying to get your body to move at the speed that you used to, moving in your day to day life, right? So with this dream, I was able to do so. And so it made me curious as far as the dream world. Um, and this was a while ago. This was years ago. So after that, I started to kind of sort of try a little harder or convince myself that it was more. So after that, not long after that, I ended up having a dream about flying, and I was flying. And I believe it was because it might have been because of a game I was playing too, and it had like a little flying on it. I think it was called. It was a mobile game. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was a Radiant one or something like that. I can't really remember though. I'm trying to remember. I think it was something like that. But anyway, so I ended up flying and I started to fall. And you know how you get that feeling that you're falling and you wake up. And so that's what happened. So a couple days after that, I was like, okay, I need to be taught how to fly. And so unintentionally though, I thought about it like right before I went to sleep. I was like, man, it'd be nice. I was like, I need somebody to teach me how to fly. I need to learn how to fly so it won't feel like that because flying felt good. Like I wasn't scared. It was just the falling part. And I was like, I don't want to fall though, so I need to find someone to teach me. Like, just pretty much I was somewhat serious and somewhat playing around because I'm like, at the time I was like, who am I really talking to? But I was like, I just threw it out there, just a playful idea. So I went to sleep and I was dreaming, and it was just like it was like like it felt random at first, and it was like me, and I knew I was a child. It was me, and it was a other handful of children, right? And we were all like running through like this building, like a basement in the building, and we all took turns and climbed out the window and went outside. And it was nighttime, and there was, I want to say he was Native American. He was a guy outside, and he had, like the feathers and everything. And he was like, listen, he was like, follow the crow. And I was like, follow the crow? What crow? And then when I looked over, I seen a crow land on the ground. And he was like, you're going to be the lead. You're going to follow the crow, and everyone's going to follow behind you. And he was like, but y'all need to hurry up because they're catching up with us. And whatever men were chasing me and the other kids, uh, they had already previously been, like earlier in the dream, had been chasing us. So I knew for a fact, like he was right, that he was going to catch up with us. So we were just trying to get away. And so I seen the crow, and the crow telepathically said something to me, and oh, that's interesting. Okay, sorry. I haven't paid a lot of attention to this guy, but so the guy was like, yeah, you need to go ahead and go, and so I just was like, okay, so how does this work? And it's like he and the crow telepathically were talking to me and told me how to do it. And I, it's like I said, a lot of times it's more of a feeling. It's not words, but it seems like a lot of words. It seems like a whole entire lesson, and it worked because the crow. I want to say the crow telepathically was like, just get like a running start, and you're gonna take off, and you have to feel it and just take off. And so the crow took off and started flying. And so I was like, oh. So I went to catch up with the crow, and then I just like, okay, and I just like, oh, like, like I was like, like I'm gonna take off, and I took off, and I started to follow the crow, and it's like I was so focused on the crow and how the crow was gliding through the air, and I was like, ooh, and it's like I felt how weightless the crow felt, and so I decided to fly too, and that was one of the first times that I flew, and I was like, oh yeah, this is it. This is how you do it. This is better. So after that, I flew a lot. Like in between the years to come, like I flew a lot in my dreams, and I got kind of used to it. And then after, you don't really, it happens. It doesn't happen. Like it depends on the situation. It depends on the narrative of the dream, whether I feel like flying or not. So up until maybe like here and there, I would fly. And most recent, of course, I flew, and I actually felt more of me, more of myself, as far as flying. Because any other time, it was like it was different. It's like the situation was different. It just felt different. So ever since that time, though, ever since that lesson with me and the other kids, uh, it was like flying was not a big deal. Like as far as like me feeling like I'm about to land or fall, it doesn't wake me up anymore. Like I have no trouble with that. Either the dream would switch or I'll lift myself up some type of way. But I'm getting better at it. If you listen to my previous episodes where I flew one of my one of my most recent dreams, and so it's been like it's like these instructions have been given to me. It's it's awesome. Like it does feel good, and it's I don't know. I'm still trying to like. It's so mystical. I guess you could say. Is that the right word? Mystical. It just seems like it. It's like clearly it's not unreal. There's some realness to it. There's something going on, and there's deeper meanings to all of this that I have to figure out. But moving forward, so the fighting also, like I learned how to really be able to move and fight just as well as flying, and it's been really helpful, especially when you have a quote unquote nightmare. I it's hard for me to. I don't want to say it's hard to have nightmares. That's not true, but it's a little harder for them to bully me now. As far as my nightmares go, like it doesn't affect me now. It's more so just emotions and the sensitive side of my dreams that stick to me more so than fear. Like I have no fear really because I feel empowered when I'm in my dreams now. Now as far as going back, I want to dig deeper as far as going back into my dreams. Now I had a dream one day or night, but one day I had a dream and I was being, I was being, okay, so let me say this dream first. So I had a dream. Now, I had mentioned two of my cousins that I had a dream about in two different dreams that were similar. I also just made a previous episode on those. Now, both of them were in a past dream. This dream was maybe a year or two ago, where I was back overseas and both of them were there. But when I looked in the mirror, I was a completely different person. I was a completely different person. It didn't catch me off guard, scare me, anything like that. I'm dreaming. I expect stuff like that. But it was one of the first times I actually saw my avatar, saw who I was. And I was like, oh. Like, I don't want to roast the dream me Like, because I love all parts of myself. But honestly, I'm not even going to front. It made me more appreciative of the avatar I wake up to. I would say that. Like, her body was, oh my goodness, it was fire. In other words, it was very nice. She had a gorgeous body. But I say I would have rather look like myself and have my hair and my face. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, cause that was me. So I'm not gonna talk about me. But and I'm not gonna say ugly because she wasn't ugly. It just wasn't me. Like if I were to choose different features, it wouldn't have been those that I would have chosen. I say that it just wasn't. It just reminded me of like the standard of like what a lot of these females are starting to look like because they're all starting to look alike to a certain degree. And it's like the lips and the nose and the cosmetic stuff that's going on. And nothing, I don't have nothing against that either. And I'm not judging anyone who feels like they, want to go and do that or have done that. That's not the case. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't me. So, but anywho, so when I was in the dream with them, and I saw like another, person in the mirror. So this time around with this other dream, I was being walked through, and this is where I knew everything was like, oh yeah, about to up the ante, because I'm walking through what I would perceive to be like a warehouse, and it was more like a hideout for me and my team. And it was like the team leader was introducing me to the rest of my team, and it was like we about to get the spiritual work in, we about to do things and help people and save people and things like that. So they were walking me through and I saw a mirror and she was laughing. It's like they knew all of this. They knew all of my dreams, all of this stuff. And then she was like, I'm about to show you yourself. And on my way to the mirror, I was like, oh, please, let me look like me. Oh, please let me look like myself. Because I don't know who I'm going to see when I look in this world. Like, please let me look like myself. And I just remember because it was a man, it was an older gentleman, and a guy who seemed to be around my age or a little older. They were sitting in one of the rooms that was like next to the wall that had the mirror on it. And I just remember walking by and telepathically, gonna hear that a lot, telepathically, like it was quiet. So I was like, oh, I hope I didn't just embarrass myself. I hope they don't think I'm shallow or something like that. Or, that it's I don't know, I just was hoping they didn't think less of me because I wanted to look like myself. And I remember going to the mirror and being pleased, but I didn't see myself. I do remember not seeing myself, but I remember my dream self being like, whew, okay, thank you. So apparently it was me. So I went from there, and then I think this was a different dream, probably the next day. So the next dream I had, I was on a different planet, and it was beautiful. It had like 2 or 3 suns that were different colors. One that looked like ours. One was like a bluish, light, very very light blue, like cotton candy blue. And another one was like a cotton candy pink. And I remember seeing another race, like an alien, what we would consider what aliens like look like. It looked like an alien race, and I was helping them relocate because they had just relocated. We were helping me and my team were helping them move, and so we helped them move into their new homes on this new planet. And and all of these are different dreams. These dreams, now that I think about it, really do go together. And a lot of them are either back to back, or some of them have a year or two in between them, months in between them. Anywho, so uh, then yes, and then there was another dream after that. Now this dream is where I first started going back into my dreams, and it's like they trained me in my dreams to be able to go back into them and continue them, and because now I have the ability to do so, I can go back and change them, things like that. And like if I don't like the outcome of my dream, or I don't appreciate something that happened, I can go right back, and it's a fantastic feeling. Oh my goodness, it's a beautiful feeling. But anywho, so I remember, I don't, I'm trying to think, like, wait, let me see if, hold on one second, let me see if I actually, because I know I wrote it down, but I'm not too sure how many details I probably wrote down in here. Because I remember the ladies, like, but they were like at the end of the stream. Yeah, they were at the end of this particular dream I had. And I'll go back into the beginning of this dream. Yeah, so, well, no, I can start at the beginning of this one. It's not, yeah, that's fine. And then I'll tell you how I ended up learning how to go back. So, I was, uh, I was in like this doctor's office, and there was people waiting, and I needed to have like some paperwork processed or something, right? And the lady behind the desk was just so rude, and she just didn't want to help me. And me and her had words. I'm gonna skip some minor little details, so they don't really matter. But it's other people waiting, and she was just rude to me. And it's like me and her were going back and forth, and then someone else came up and they started helping me, and then they get all my stuff done. And then she said something to me when I was on my way out, and so I turned back around like, "Who would you talk to?" And all of a sudden, it's like she had this long cord, like with beads on it, but it was like that stretchy string, like the stretchy cord, like how they make like some bracelets. It's like she had one of those, and it was going from one end of the room to the other end of the room. And she pulled it, and it snapped back, and it hit me in the face. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Now, in my previous episode, I let y'all know like that was like the dream I talked about in my previous episode. That was the second time I felt something, and it felt like I really felt it. This was the first time. Now with this dream, I felt that. Like, no, no, no. You know, I really, really felt it. Like, it popped me. And I was so upset. I woke up with my hand on my face like, that B word. Like, I know. And for days, y'all, days after that, days, my cheek would tingle like icy. It was icy and tingly right where she hit me at. And I was like, what's going on? Like, that is so intriguing to me. It was very, very intriguing to me. Now, I got shot in the other drink, but I only felt it like first 3 seconds when I woke up, and I was just like, you know, like you bump your elbow and you rub it a little bit. I did like that. Oh, that was a little weird. Trying to get like a little stretch and hope it crack a little bit, you know. And that was about it. But with this, I felt it for days after, and it just tingled in that exact spot where she popped me with the beaded cord. My man, the beaded cord. And I was just like, I didn't appreciate that. So look, so moving forward, I wanted to go back in that dream so bad. Ain't go talk to that woman. And I want to go back so bad and use my powers or something, or put my hands on something. I was just so, I felt so disrespected. So that way, it didn't call for that. It didn't call for that. And it was like she actually manifested something in my dream, and she manifested something that slapped me right in the cheek, and I didn't appreciate that. And it was like, wow. So now that I'm talking about it, I'm more so thinking like having that ability to really let go and not let someone have like power over you. Because if you really think about it, if I would have done what I do now and just changed it or reacted a little bit more calmly, then it wouldn't have ended the way it ended. So I was like, like that sucks. Like we should be able to go back in our dreams. Because accidentally I've done it maybe once or twice, but the thing was I never like really fully woke up. So it was easier to kind of go back. So I never could like get up and be up and then go back to sleep and then go back into a dream until now. So uh my dream, like this dream might have been the next day. If not the next day, the day after that, but no later than 2 days, I think, between each other. So I don't remember too much. I want to say, because this dream was right after that, I want to say it was the same dream, though, to be honest, y'all. I want to say, but the way I wrote it, it was like, because the way I wrote it, I wrote both dreams down, but they were like days after that, and I had remembered to write it down. But anyway, so I go, yeah, I think it was whatever. It doesn't matter. Only thing that matters right now is the details. So, okay, so I'm dreaming, and I'm back with like being trained or something. I knew it was some type of training, something going on again. And then the dream changed, and it was like I was in like this little like brunch area, little restaurant. I really do like to eat, because I dream about restaurant stuff a lot too. But yeah, so I'm in like this little brunch area, and it's these older ladies, like nice little, Sunday hat wearing older ladies, and they're all sitting at the table together having like tea and cookies and stuff like that, and biscuits and brunch or whatever the case. And they were talking to me, and they felt so familiar. I've never seen them personally, like, so I was like, but I knew them spiritually. Like, they must be answering something. I don't know. But they felt like a bunch of aunties. They really felt like a bunch of aunties. So they were just talking to me. Mind you, they're always talking to me like at once, but it didn't. But it sounded like one. If that makes sense, it's like I was able to distinguish like one from the other. So I was getting excited that like they were telling me how good I was doing, and they were telling me like how far I've come and how far I was going. And I got too excited because around this time, like my dreams were elevating, and so I would get excited to the point where I would wake up. It's like almost like you get too scared, you wake up, and so I get to the point if I get too excited, I might wake up. So this was the first time by my own accord, like I went back into my dream. So one of the main ones, and she reminds me of my aunt Jenny, who also ascended, and she kind of had like her attitude, like that strong, like sarcastic chick or lady, excuse me, lady. Like she was a little, have that they kind of sarcastic, but they love you to death. Like they kind of rough around the edges, like the way they talk. It's not so sugar coated. Like they ain't got no filter, but it's all love. Like so, she was looking at me, and it was like I was floating away. It felt like I was floating, and she was like, "Look at her about to wake up." I was like, no, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. And I felt myself, listen, guys, I felt myself like in between. I felt myself in my bed, and I felt myself still standing in front of them. Like I felt myself like in two places. And I was like, no, I'm not. And I felt myself slipping away from them. And I was like, no, no, no. And I started laughing. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm coming. Nope, nope. And I went back, and I felt my bed less and felt more in their presence. And I came right back. And I don't remember what they told me after I came back. I just remember that I went back, and it was like, oh, this is possible. No, this is possible. So I go back. I do know that they still were talking to me and giving me advice or whatever the case may be. Then I woke up, but I don't remember what happened. I don't remember what happened. So yeah, so that was so I did want to kind of like backtrack and kind of put a few dreams together to kind of like paint where I was and then where I've come to now. And so, in other words, more of the story is it's been some training. It's been a whole lot of training, a lot of training that I asked for, and I wasn't stuck on the expectations. But I've always been doing this, y'all. Like it's like okay, visualizing makes it easier too, I believe, because I'm great at visualizing. Now I remember I taught myself how to visualize when I was 6 years old. Never forget it. I lay down. I like put pillows all around my head. And leaving like that one little piece of like that one little hole with the cool air coming through, and I would tune out because I grew up with my cousins, and so we was always lively, we was always lit and having a good time. So I actually would separate myself because now I understand it's because I was an empath amongst other things, and I used to get drained easily. So now I get it, but as a kid I didn't understand, so I used to just go off to myself, and so I was like, but I need something, and this is at 6 years old. I was like, I need something to kind of like bring me a sense of something that I can just be able to do on my own or something in my head because I knew like when I used to tune out certain stuff, I was like, so I can tune out. Mind you, I didn't know what tune out was then. I didn't use that particular, choice of words, but I was good at tuning out. So I was like, okay, so I'm just gonna go in here, go in my room and I'm put the pillows and try to muffle the sounds out and tune out. And so inadvertently I ended up teaching myself how to visualize because then I started being like, okay, so where would I like to be? What would I like to be doing? How quiet would I like it? And so I would do that, and the more time it went on, before I knew it, I was like visualizing like crazy. Like it was dumb easy for me. Like it was stupid easy. So I ended up, and that became like my entertainment after a while. It's like I've never been bored a day in my life after I learned how to visualize. It's like because I can do anything in my head. I play things like a movie and I can watch it over and over again. I can change any detail I wanted. And I loved movies growing up too. So I'm a big movie buff. I should have been like a movie critic or something like that. Like I've always been like that person into films, like whether they're black and white or it didn't matter. Like I've always been like into movies and stuff like that and certain shows. So I was like, okay, I can just paint those pictures in my head, and I've never been bored because of it. So I think that also has a lot to do with it because if I'm visualizing or doing certain things like before I go to sleep, I end up painting a picture that I can bring to life in my dreams, and I can actually live in that picture, like and actually feel it. So those two have ended up becoming like hand in hand. Um, so I think because I'm already and I'm on a lot of posts. So but so many minutes, and I don't want to get into another dream. Let me see. Is there any other quick ones that I have? But I want to get into a long one and then have to do a whole to be continued. I do have a little snippet of a dream I had a few weeks ago. Now I'm always on another planet though. To be honest with you, like I would say maybe once a month, once every 2-3 months, maybe give or take, depending on how my traveling goes. I guess I uh I end up on another planet, and it's pretty dope. Now, depending on how I act or depending on what I take in that day, also plays a part. And that it also makes me more mindful of the TV shows I watch and the movies I watch too. Um, because okay, like for example, I had a dream where I was on this planet. Oh, it was beautiful. It was so like it was all earth tone colors. No real like bright colors. The only bright that they had were the stars in the sky on this planet. But the thing about the stars on this planet was they look like what we, because our stars don't look like stars. They don't look like the actual star shape, just like the heart shape. Where they get the shape of the heart from? Because that ain't what our heart looks. But anyway, but the shape of like a star, the stars on that planet actually look like that. And it was like they had these little round circles that seemed like spears, or is that right? Sphere, whatever. Um, shaped like a planet. It was like they had these little blue, jet black, like little circles that was they almost looked like planets, but then when they turned to the side, because you thought they were full, like milk duds or something, but when they turned to the side, they became completely flat. And this is what was in the sky, and it was just rotating. I remember it was me and another group, and we were just all walking, and there was no like civilization on like the entrance of the planet, and it's like we had to go to where they had civilization at. And then I woke up, went to the bathroom, came back, went to sleep, dreamed about something else, and then did I end up back? Yeah, and then I ended up coming back, and this time it was like they were separating us by groups, and they had me in a group. No, I think I ended up walking by accident or something because I think I went the wrong. Yeah, I went the wrong way or something like that, and I ended up with one of the like mostly it was females from the cast of Love and Hip Hop, and I was like, oh no, like I didn't come all this way for this, bro. No, I really did go the wrong way, and then it was like they were separating people. It's like and trying to show them which job they was gonna do on the planet. I was like, huh? What happened? I said, no, 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 no. I don't work here. Like, we don't, no. Like, I'm like, what kind of? And I seen like people putting on, and mind you, the outfits they were issuing looked like they were from like the 40s. And I was like, what's going on? And it was like it was like, yeah, you can be like in plants and stuff like that. Like, it was like, it was certain like levels of slavery. And they were like separating them by groups. And it's like all of them were arguing and fighting. And I was like, what? And then the ones that they got in line, they like because they weren't like forcing them to stop like with the energy they had going on and fussing and fight. It wasn't stopping them that they just would grab somebody and then put them in line. And then when they got in line, they issued them their stuff, and then they'll like walk around this corner, and they'll come out with like the '40s hairstyle and the outfit, and I was like, oh no, see, yep, I most definitely went the wrong way. And I went to walk off, and one of the girls, because I'm not gonna name anybody in particular, but one of the girls from the show, like, she was like, I'm coming with you. No, you. I was like, no, you're not. You ain't going with me because you're gonna get us caught. And then I woke up. Um, Now I did ended up being more interested in like going to a different planet after that. So I was like, okay, this is nice. And so I kind of sort of thought about it for like a couple of days, and it took a few days, and I ended up. I hope these are in order, but for the most part, they got the same thing with me being on different planets. But um, I just know that I was like that. It's pretty neat. So I like seeing the different structures. I like architecture and stuff like that, and the shapes and colors, and I love the aesthetic, and stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, so it'd be nice when I see different stuff like that, and it'd be nice to experience that again. So I ended up going on another planet, and somewhere or another, I ended up back here on Earth, right? And then after I came back to Earth, I don't really, I don't really recall what happened. I told, I told my friend Mel about the dream. I don't remember the beginning, and I'm not scrolling through our messages to try to find it. It'll take forever. But I know that I was somewhere talking to some people, something like that. But anywho, I ended up getting on. Like, first of all, it didn't look like a whole spaceship. It just looked like a little tiny something, and then it was like a little ball, and yeah, it was like a little white ball. Yeah, that is right. It was like a little white ball, and I climbed inside or something like that, and it looked like a complete spaceship on the inside. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And I want to say that there was a pilot or someone else in there with me, but I'm not too sure if they were actual like a being or anything, or an entity or life, anything. I don't remember if they were part of the ship or not. It's pretty much what I'm getting at. I don't know if they were artificial intelligence or whatever they were. I don't know if they were like a robot or something, like part of the ship. I can't remember. But I got in the ship, and I remember just being in the middle, and then whoever was in there with me told me how to fly it, for the most part. And I don't really, I remember more so now that I got instructions, because it's like when I was in there, it's just it's just hard to remember like certain details. I don't remember anyone actually telling me anything before I went to go fly. So it was just like, hey, controls here, da da da. So yeah, so I started to fly. It started to lift up in the air and stuff like that, and then I was in outer space, and shit you not, when I looked out of the side, when I looked to the side, it was like Earth was roundish, but it was flat too, and it was like the graphics. The graphics are not that great. Like, if anybody played video games from the '90s, if you played any games from the '90s, and you play video games now, and you see how far like graphics have come, listen, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There was no 4K, there was no 2K, there was no 1080. I was like, that's what Earth looked like. Are you kidding me? It really looked like a simulation. It really looked like it was. It looked like Minecraft. That you don't. If you don't know what Minecraft is, you can look that up. But it looked like Minecraft. It looked like Minecraft, yo. Like the graphics were like boxed a little bit, like pixel, and I was just like, "That's Earth." Seriously. I was like, "Ain't no way that's where I just came from," because everything's so vivid when I'm there. It's so realistic. Like, well, what's up with that? And so I got so caught up with that, and I ended up getting scared because now I'm like, I'm really in outer space, and this is not the pictures I saw. This is nothing like what I saw. So my spacecraft, my spaceship, it started to fall because I was getting scared. And then I was like, wait. I said, God didn't bring you this far for you to crash land on nothing. And then it leveled back out. So I was like, oh, so I also control the ship with my emotions and stuff too, in my mind and my heart. Okay, cool. So I ended up yeah, I ended up flying that spaceship to another planet, and I got off at that planet. Now I can't remember if I landed on that planet, and that's when I ended up going the wrong way and being with the girls from Love and Hip Hop. I can't remember. I don't remember if it was one before the other, or if I landed on a different planet and I just don't remember that particular dream. Sorry about that, but yeah, but still amazing. Now I'm noticing a pattern as well. Now I am noticing that everything is being connected to my mind and my emotions, or my mind and my heart. And it's like as soon as those two meet, and I believe in whatever I want to have done or accomplished, it happens. So, I find that very interesting. But yes, I just wanted to do a little recap there. Now, I do still have some oldie but goodies. I don't know if I'm just going to leave them alone. I do have one that happened, but it was with a celebrity. And I ended up dreaming about that celebrity twice. And then the third time, someone said that I probably need to talk to them. And I was like, but this particular celebrity, I don't have any interest in talking to. But I'm not too sure if I'm going to mention that because that celebrity has also been in like the news and stuff like that. And I'm just not too sure if I want to add to it. I'm not too sure if I want to mention their name or describe that. Now, if it does come to that point, I'll just come back to it because I mean, there's no particular order at this point. I just wanted to kind of sort of go over some old ones that might be hand in hand with any of the ones that any new dreams that I have. And yeah, and so I really, really hope you guys find this stuff helpful and interesting. And I hope you have a great day or night. And yeah, I wish you the best. You know. I'm trying to make sure I didn't think of, not think. I'm trying to make sure I didn't forget like any details from anything I've told you already. Nope, I think that's it. Anything else? I'm just gonna bring it up later. All right. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening, and I love you because I have no reason not to. All right. Bye.